What's up, boys and girls? Welcome back to another episode of the Miller Brothers podcast. My name is Jordan Miller. That's my brother Eli on the other side of the screen, and we are excited for another episode. We're in the getting in a bad habit of not recording every week, but every other week instead. But we're trying to get them out. This one might be a little bit longer with college football that's taking place over the last 2 weeks, and we're getting into some MLB playoff talk towards the end of this. But before we get into it, anything you want to say, Eli?
Let's get it.
All right, Eli. Like I said in the opening, a lot to cover because we missed week 4 of the college football schedule, but we're here at the end of week 5. A lot has gone down. Obviously, I think we need to start with what took place in prime time on ABC with Alabama versus Georgia. I know you were working volleyball games that day. Did you get to watch much of it? And if so, what were your thoughts?
I did watch. I got to watch more than I thought I would, but that first half was all Alabama. Like anybody who watched the game knows, Alabama knew exactly what they wanted to do, and Georgia couldn't stop one thing that they were doing. Carson Beck looked lost. Whatever Kane Womack had drawn up for them for their first half, they executed, and they executed to a high level. And so Bama looked unbeatable, untouchable. You weren't going to phase them that whole first half. And then the second half hit, and the Kirby Smart instinct of do what Nick Saban would do kicked in, and he made every adjustment he could possibly make to give his team a chance to win at the end of the game. And if Alabama didn't have Ryan Williams, Georgia would have won that game. I believe, and we'll talk about more about the game, but Ryan Williams for a second. Ryan Williams has played 4 games at the University of Alabama. And by the end of this year, I'm going to go ahead and tell you he's going to be the best. You can go ahead and write it down that he's going to be the best wide receiver that ever come out of that university. Devontae Smith, Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones. If he keeps on this pace here in the first year, you can argue that he's the best ever to come through there after 1 year. Now, after his whole career, if he stays healthy, he will be. There's no doubt in my mind. But after the first year, you might could say it. Just because the plays he's making, and I don't even necessarily care about the catches. It's what he's doing when he catches the ball. Like you can't get him on the ground. He's going to get 10, 15 more yards after he catches it. And so, I mean, sitting here now, he's the best wide receiver in the country as of right now. He's got a quarterback that could throw him the football, which some teams in the state tend to not have. And it's working out. Him and Milroe are on the same page. And when you're on the same page, you win football games. And that's why they won that game. They blew that big lead, but had enough at the end and had Ryan Williams at the end. So fortunately enough for them, they were able to win.
Yeah, I think Alabama came and hit them in the mouth with everything they had. I mean, jumping up 21-0, 28-7. I think it was 28-7 at halftime. It's hard to come back from, especially when your quarterback turns the ball over 3 times before the comeback started and turned it over a total of 4 times by the time the game was over. It's hard to win that way, period. But I think that game proved that Georgia is a good team. A lot of people are doubting Georgia. A lot of people thought that Carson Beck wasn't for real. He proved in moments that he is a good quarterback. He made the right throws. I think in the first half he was just scared. I don't think he'd been in a game like that before on the road. He's played in some true road games. I think the closest he had was last year at Auburn, but that turned into throw it to Brock Bowers and let him go to work. That's all that was. That's the only reason they won that game, I'm convinced. But at Alabama, pressure's high. People are saying that's one of the best games of the century. Was going to be the biggest game. I mean, they started promoting that 2 hours out.
Yeah.
Stay on ABC, 2 hours, 2 hours. UGA, Bama. I mean, during the middle of the Auburn game, they're promoting 2 of Auburn's biggest rivals.
When you're the two
And
best programs in college football, that's what happens.
very true, very true. But they, I think it definitely started out different than I expected. I didn't watch much of it because I was angry, and I would rather eat than watch football at that moment. But I turned it on in the second half just to watch Georgia start that comeback, and Georgia proved that they are for real. Now, no, if they don't have those 4 turnovers, that game's completely different. But we can always play the if game with everything. We'll probably play it here
Absolutely.
coming up with Auburn.
I'd have a six pack of abs if I'd go in the gym and work out.
Right. Right.
I mean, that's just what it is. So you can sit here and say, we can sit here and say, if they don't turn the ball over 4 times, that's fine. If Ryan Williams isn't a freak, then he wouldn't have scored that touchdown. Carson Beck, and I'll say this and I'll let you get back to what you're doing, but Carson Beck made that throw to tie the game was absurd. Like, that was an absurd throw. But that pick that he threw at the end of the game, that wasn't even a bad pass. That was a pro play. That is a freshman corner making a pro play at 18 years old. Turned around at the right time, got his hands exactly where they needed to be. Did not hand fight, did not pull a jersey, did not push. He literally just played the ball, turned around at the right time, put his hands out there and picked it off. Plays like that are being made by 28-year-olds in the NFL, and fortunately for Alabama, they were made in Tuscaloosa on Saturday night.
Yeah. I think it. I believe Alabama was #1 in the AP poll today, based on that, which is really surprising that they would bump Texas like that. Very surprising. Um,
It really don't matter. The AP poll don't matter, but also Texas struggled with Mississippi State for a while last night, or Saturday night, excuse me. But again, it's the same thing with Georgia. They struggled with Kentucky and then put Texas over Georgia. If this was
right.
if the AP poll actually mattered, you could sit here and argue and wonder why they did it. But as we sit right now, five weeks in, Bama has the best win in all of the country, and so that's why I wouldn't say I wouldn't be mad anyway, but that's why I'm not confused or wondering why they did it. Bama's got the best win out of every team in the country. No other team has looked dominant. And yeah, they blew the lead in the second half, but that first half Bama team, if they play a whole game like that, they are the best team in the country.
I think that showed a lot of their inexperience on both sides of the ball, that they were giving up. They gave up that big of a lead. They took their foot off the neck, so to speak, and they let Georgia climb back into that. I think that was some inexperience on everybody's part there, but it was literally just throw it up to Ryan Williams, like you said, and just let him make a play. Um, Auburn's
And
got
I
those
hate
players, but we'll get to
Yeah.
that in a minute. But
And
it
I hate that we sit here and talk good about Alabama because, why would I want to do that? But if we're talking football, I mean, it's just you have to talk about the difference in the things that they did. And some of that inexperience showed through, but also Kalen DeBoer got really, really conservative. Like, he was almost trying not to lose more than he was trying to win in the second half. Now, in the first half, he laid it all out on the line and said, "Stop us if you can," and Georgia couldn't. Now, there are things that they did in the first half that were taken away by Georgia in the second half. But also, they changed up the way they did things so they wouldn't lose the game, and it almost
right.
cost them. But
Well, that's what Gus Malzahn did in the 2013 national championship game, and it cost Auburn the national championship. And if it wasn't for Ryan Williams, because I don't think that was a stellar throw by Jalen Milroe. Probably a better throw than I could ever make, but I don't think that was a
absolutely,
stellar throw. But Ryan Williams made a play,
yeah.
and I mean he's good. You made a bold claim he's the best receiver to ever come through Alabama if he keeps this up. But we'll see. He's got to stay off TikTok.
The
Um, just ridiculous.
world we live in now.
But overall, that was a fantastic game, and
Absolutely.
I texted one of my buddies after it or afterwards, and I said, "Dude, I just cannot catch a break today. I can't. I mean, we talk about Auburn and versus Oklahoma right now. We just could not catch a break on Saturday. I mean, Auburn played a great game, and I told Dad this on Saturday. We called just to catch up, and when I was talking to him, I said Peyton Thorne up for 3.5 quarters played probably the best game he's played in a long time, but he was trying incredibly hard to play, and we only had 21 points. Now, not all that was on him. There's a lot. We say it every game: hand the ball off to 27 and let 27 just run people over, and it just they don't do that enough.
Yeah.
You've got second and goal from or third and goal from the 3 and fourth and goal from the 1, and you put the 5'10" former quarterback turned receiver in to run the ball. But if he would have just handed it off to number 27, 27 actually ran through the end zone trying to block for him. So if you look at it, Jarquez Hunter is the hardest runner in the SEC right now. There's no way to combat that. Auburn literally, they put this stat up during the game. Auburn literally leads the nation in rush yards per attempt. They're at 6.2. I think that's gone up to close to about 6.5 right now. But just literally, Auburn doesn't score on their second drive of the game if Jarquez Hunter doesn't go through that fight through that screen.
Yeah.
3rd and 10, they threw a screen out to him, and he was hit after he was hit 6 yards short, and he just ran through and got an extra 10 yards. Just the kind of player he is, and so Jarquez Hunter needs to be touching the ball, whether it's a pass or a rushing attempt. He needs to be touching the ball at least 25, 30 times a game, no matter what. And everybody was like, Peyton Thorne played well until he made that one mistake. Well, he made that mistake earlier in the game. He just didn't have any consequences for it. He just didn't have any consequences the first time. Well, the second time, there were consequences. It's a pick six, and it ended up costing Auburn the game. So anyway, you take over.
Yeah, Auburn did a lot of things right, a lot of great things. This one's all on coaching. 100% on coaching. I don't blame one single player on the football field for the way that game turned out. They should have never been passing the ball in that situation. I don't blame Peyton Thorne for throwing a pick.
No, the pick I don't necessarily blame on him entirely. The where he threw the ball was a poor decision. But earlier when Towns Magoo missed his second kick right before that, it was first and 10, second and 10. They gave him RPOs. Now, he's got to have the situational awareness, hand the ball off, run the clock. But he chose to pull it and made two very poor throws. That's not all on coaching. That's on a fifth-year quarterback not making the right decision. And I don't 100%. I think that blame is 50-50 in that spot. You call a straight run play because you can't trust your quarterback to make the right decision in that point. Also, if you're Peyton Thorne, you've got to have the situational awareness in your 5th year of college football and in your 23rd year of playing football altogether. Not only on the field, but I'm sure he plays Madden a ton and NCAA now because he's in the game. You've got to have the situational awareness. Okay, we're in the 4th quarter. We're up by 11. Let's run some clock here. Hand the ball off. It shouldn't take a coach telling him that. It shouldn't. I haven't played a down of football in my life, and I understand. In that situation, you need to run as much clock as possible because anything can happen, and anything did happen. Everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong because they didn't hand the ball. They could have run another 2 minutes off the clock there. Now, our kicker missing 2 field goals. I blame coaching for that one because he tried to do the fire drill there at the end and he rushed the kick. Oh, we got another opportunity. Well, at that point, he's overthinking. Okay, how did I miss that? Why did I miss that? I missed footwork here, and his footwork was off on the second one. So he misses his second attempt on the same field goal. Then he comes to hit a 51-yarder, which he has more than enough leg for, and he's overthinking it again. It's all mental when it comes to kicking. And so that one I do blame on coaching. But anyway, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Well, to the kicking aspect, since that's the last thing you mentioned, if you'll watch him, he missed all 3 of those field goals. Of course, 2 of them counted. The other one was on a penalty. All 3 of them were pushed to the left. Watch him kick off. Everything's left. He's having to kick every time. Throw somebody else in there to kick off and let him just kick field goals. Because he's kicking it and he's pushing it all to the left, all to the left, all to the left. And then when he kicks a field goal, it's all to the left. Now, to the point of situational awareness from Peyton Thorne, yes, 5th-year quarterback. I said it in the group chat the other night. Hugh Freeze says, I don't need to put him in that situation. Well, yeah, you don't need to put him in that situation, but he should know. But I'm going to give you another thing. Why are we running an RPO? Why are you giving him the option to pass? Run the football. Run it. Don't RPO. You can run a read option and give Peyton Thorne the chance to run the ball as well. But there's no reason to have a run-pass option because there's no reason to pass the football. None at all. And then he said, I need to be better. In the era of having coach to quarterback communication in your helmet. There's no need to have miscommunication on the field between the coach and the quarterback. Pre-snap, hey, hand it off to Jarquez. Let him get 4 or 5. We're in the middle of, hey, trying to run the clock, trying to get, if we can kick another field goal, we'll try. We don't need to throw the football. And to be honest, on the interception, like I don't like where he threw the football, but
Yeah.
that was insane coverage. That was an insane package that they threw at him, and it completely fooled him. Here came the linebacker, and then all of a sudden, as soon as you let go, it happened to Hank Brown against Arkansas last week. They threw something at him he didn't know, and it cost him. And so I blame it on coaching because in the red zone they run Sam Jackson instead of giving it to Jarquez. Okay, and then he's going to come out and say, "Oh, now that I look at it, I should have done that." Well, everybody in the stands is telling you what to do. Like I don't know how you can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I went back and watched film and said, "Oh, he should have given it to him there."
Yeah.
He's sitting there at the 3-yard line on first and goal, and 27 gets the ball 3 times, and you score. And then you want to talk about coaching. This one was on coaching, and he took a. I've been waiting on it to take full accountability for losing the football game, and he 100% did. And to be
Yeah.
honest, on the 3rd and 4 that he passed, he really could have ran the ball and then punted. Because that 19-year-old kid is not going to drive 99 yards on our defense and score a touchdown. So situational awareness was bad. The play before half that tried to set up the field goal was a check out at the line of scrimmage because the coverage they were showing, the play that they ran, they said wasn't going to work. So they checked out of it, and then we ran a hitch route to the boundary, and we didn't even try to get out of bounds.
Mm-mm.
It's all like, of course, the players make the plays, but Hugh Freeze did not put them in a position to win the game. I thought the offensive plan was good. Hold on to the football, keep it away from Oklahoma. Keep the defense off the field. That's why the defense was fresh in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
They technically only gave up 17 points because they gave up the pick six, and then the field goal at the end of the game was because we turned it over right there.
Right.
So basically, you only gave up 17 points. So you kept them off the field. They were fresh. Now you're looking at a 2-3 record, 0-2 in the league, and you're about to get socked by Georgia on Saturday.
Right. Joe Tessitore said it multiple times during the game. He and Jordan Rogers. By the way, side note, they did fantastic. That was one of the best called games I've heard in a long time by an ESPN crew. But Joe Tessitore kept saying it multiple times. He said, "I'm telling you, this Auburn team does not feel like a 2-2 team." And he said at the end of the game, "This does not feel like a 2-3 team. This feels like they're one step away from being a 5-0 team. And realistically, Auburn should be 5-0 right now. Oklahoma had so many injuries and so much going on. Should be 5-0. 5-0 going into the Georgia game." And there's no moral victories, but if there was, the only thing would be our defense has gotten better every single game. Auburn's defense, even with the inexperience in the secondary, Auburn's defense has been stellar this year.
Auburn's offense got better from last week to this week, which was something you wanted to see. They got the tight end involved in the touchdown. They ran it better. The offensive line was a lot better. And so, I mean, they had 480-something yards of total offense. Like, the offense worked. It's just for one stupid pass and a couple of dumb play calls in the red zone. I mean, and we missed 2 field goals. But, yes, they could be 5-0. The thing is, you know, they don't feel like a 2-3 team because they are close. They're not close to winning 10 games. They're not a 10-win team this year. I mean, every game, it's a little bit closer and a little bit closer and a little bit closer. It's not going to come this week. It doesn't matter how good you play. You're not beating Georgia. But a lot of these freshmen are getting better week by week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say this before we move on because we've been on this topic for a minute. There was a route that Cam Coleman ran on Saturday that Thorne tried to hit him going down the boundary. And Cam cuts to the middle, and the ball goes behind him. Miscommunication. The next drive, they ran the same play. 40-yard pass. Just like that, which we have not seen the first few weeks. They're starting to get it, and it's starting to click for them. And then on defense, those freshmen are playing. DeMarcus Riddick got his chance on Saturday, and he shined. He may have been the best, I mean, one of, if not the best defender for our team that day. And then Harris as well in the secondary played really well. They said he's the most physical kid in the secondary, and he showed it. So we can move on from there, but, I mean, they may win 2 or 3 more games. I don't know. But they're progressively getting better. And if those kids will keep believing in themselves and believing in the coaches, and Hugh Freeze will put them in the best position to win, they could beat Missouri and Kentucky. I'm
Yeah,
not saying
got to
they
go to
will, but they can.
got to go to Missouri and Kentucky on the road. We got Vanderbilt and
A&M and
A&M and a
ULM.
cupcake at home. So realistically, you could probably beat Kentucky, beat Vanderbilt, beat the cupcake, and since A&M's at home, you may have a chance. Auburn's going to have to win 3 or 4 games before that game if they want to have a chance with the crowd for the crowd to be a factor. But anyway, I like a lot of what happened. I don't like the end result. Um, Little things, and I told Dad, I said their coaching is getting better. It's just not where it should be in year 2. But
Yeah.
optimistic, honestly. Like you said, a lot of corrections made in game, and I like a lot of what I saw. Last thing, and then we'll move on to Michigan.
I don't really have anything
Okay.
left to say on it, really.
All right. So Michigan last week, they really dominated the line of scrimmage against USC in USC's debut game in the Big Ten. Uh, but they allowed USC to make a comeback in that game, and they ended up winning with just power football, which is Big Ten prides himself on. And then they barely escaped with against Minnesota this week with Tim Walz, that nut job, in attendance. What's your thoughts on Michigan right now? Are they a playoff team? Because I think they're number 12 right now, but are they a playoff team in your mind?
No, I think they'll end up losing a couple more games before the end of the year because quarterback play is not very good. Quarterback play is very inconsistent for them. So I thought Orgy did a really good job last week against USC, but they ran the football. They just
Hmm.
bullied USC. And so they're going to play a team that they're not going to be able to bully running the football, and it's going to cost them. I think they're a good football team, good enough, but they won't make the playoff. So not in that Big Ten.
Uh, Something surprising. I don't think either one of these teams played this past week in Week 5, but in Week 4, Clemson stomped all over NC State. I think that final score was like 59-42 or something like that, something crazy like that. Let's go to Week 4. But I did not expect that. NC State is not who they thought they were going to be. I think we both had them in the playoff, but they just underperformed. Yeah, 59-35. NC State is not who we thought they were.
I don't think Grayson McCall played that game either.
Probably not. Probably
But still, they're
not.
not good. They're not good when he is the quarterback. So
No, they're 2-2 right now. Yeah, he didn't play. Um, he did not play that game at all. But Clemson jumped on them, and I like where Clemson's headed. If Clemson can make the climb back and they're still in ACC contention, I think it's going to be them and Miami.
they got Florida
Uh,
State this week, so they're good.
yeah, Florida State's terrible, and they lost their quarterback. So, of course, they might be better without him. Who knows?
We'll see.
Something to be sad about. Mac Brown got beat by who'd they get beat by?
Duke,
They got
James
beat by
Madison
Duke
last week
James Madison week before.
gave
So
up 70,
and then they were up
20,
20.
20
They
to
20 to
3.
nothing.
Yep, in the
20 to
first half.
nothing in the first half, and they lost 21-20. If you don't mind, moment of silence for Mac Brown's career. All right. Um, I mentioned the USC versus Michigan. USC bounce back win, huge bounce back win against Wisconsin in week 5. Let me pull up. I think that was in California, 2 touchdown game. Do you think USC is in playoff contention? They're number 13 right now, but do you think they're in playoff contention?
I mean, they're in contention at the moment. Miller Moss is a good quarterback, and they've got a lot of good things going for them. With They'll be one of those teams that'll be in the 15 to 20 range at the end of the year if they go on this pace. I think they'll probably drop another one. Big Ten's only probably going to get 2 teams, and that's the 2 teams that play in the conference championship. So I don't think they'll make the playoff. You can say they're in contention right now just because they've only lost 1 game. I mean, I'm not too worried about them making the playoff.
Understandable. Colorado. Colorado has turned the corner ever since that Hail Mary play in week 4. they have turned the corner and they stomped all over UCF. UCF is not as good as I thought they were going to be, and
KJ
maybe
Jefferson's not a good quarterback.
yeah, he's not a good quarterback. But Colorado is getting better. What are your thoughts on Colorado right now?
Absolutely. We already knew about Shador and Travis Hunter, but their other receivers are starting to catch footballs. They're making tough catches, good plays. The offensive line's playing better. It'll be interesting to see when they play a couple of better teams. UCF's a good football team, good enough, and for them to be able to do what they did against them, that's a plus. So if they can keep this up, they can make a run. But I don't know. I don't have their schedule at the top of my head right now. I think they play a couple of tougher games, but I looked at it. I mean, there's only 2 games left on their schedule. I looked at it yesterday where I'm honestly saying, okay, that would most likely be a loss sitting right now. They play Kansas State. Like that
Kansas
could be a
State this
loss.
week.
Yeah, that could be a loss. But if they beat Kansas State, well, then I believe they're 5-1, and you're looking at them as a favorite or as a Big 12. They're Big 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
A Big 12, a Big 12 sleeper that can come back up. And again, the O line's playing better. Their defense is playing better. They didn't look great against Baylor, but they did against UCF. And even though UCF is not a great football team, Gus Malzahn's offense is good enough with the guys that he has that they could have put up more points on Colorado
Mm-hmm.
if Colorado didn't stop them. Because
Mm-hmm.
UCF's offense is better than Baylor's.
I agree.
So they're making more adjustments. So Colorado right now, I mean, 4-1. I mean, you'll take that all day, every day if you're a Colorado fan and you're Deion Sanders.
Especially after they looked how they looked against Nebraska. I mean,
Yeah.
how they looked against
Well, that
Nebraska
was
is tough.
that was a buzzsaw
Uh,
waiting to happen.
that's true, especially after what happened last year.
Yeah,
So they
Matt Rule
got
wanted that.
they got Kansas State at home this coming week. No, they have this week off. Next week they have Kansas State at home. Then they go to Arizona. Then
They'll win
Cincinnati at
that.
home.
They'll win
Go to
that.
Texas Tech,
That'll be
and then they
tough.
got Utah at home. Then they go to
That'll be tough.
Kansas,
They could beat them. Beat them.
and then they have Oklahoma State at home.
That'll
Literally,
be
for
tough.
their last 7 games of the season, they alternate home and away. I think that's the first time I've ever seen that in college football, that they
Yeah.
alternate home and away for the rest of the season. Uh,
Because that schedule's favorable for them.
right. It really is. Kansas State and Utah right now, as of right now, are the only ones they really have to worry about. Maybe Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State's dropped out of the top 25, but I think they'll be a bloodbath. I don't know about
Arizona on the
Kansas.
road will be tough, but I think they can handle that.
Yeah,
Kansas isn't good.
no, Kansas is not good anymore, from what I understand. Last thing that we have to talk about with college football, and then we'll move on to the MLB, and we'll spend the next 25 minutes talking about that. You got to
Probably not.
talk about Kentucky beating Ole Miss. Boy, it couldn't happen to a better team.
Yeah. Name of the game against Ole Miss: keep the ball away from their offense and keep their defense on the field forever. And that's exactly what Kentucky does against every team like this that they play. Mark Stoops just wants first downs. He's not going to throw it downfield a bunch. He's going to run it, a couple of 3 and 4 yard passes here, and we're just going to milk the clock and milk the clock and milk the clock. And that's what they did. They kept the ball away from Jackson Dart. Every chance Jackson Dart got, he really didn't even capitalize. I think he threw for 1 touchdown. Jackson Dart had averaged 383 passing yards coming into the game today. They hadn't played anyone, but still, that's impressive. And they held him to throw for 1 touchdown. So Mark Stoops is always that guy that can slow your offense down. And then if his defense can hold your offense, his offense can score enough. And that's what happened Saturday. It's what he's been doing since he's been there. That saved his job for so long. There's a couple of these teams that he can just get in there and slow it down and beat them around, take a 3-point win and go home. And that's what happened.
Yeah, missed field goal there at the end, but Kentucky really controlled the line of scrimmage. Jackson Dart, 18 for 27, 261 with a touchdown. Here's
Which is still not bad.
No, here's Brock Vandergriff, 18 for 28 for 243 and a touchdown. But here's where Ole Miss probably wishes they had Quinshon Judkins back. They only had 92 yards rushing on 29 attempts. I mean, they were balanced. 29 carries. Had 29 carries total as a team. Kentucky had 47.
Yep.
And
Kentucky wants it in the trenches. That's where they want it, and that's where they're going. That's where they got it. They took Ole Miss and put them in the trenches and said, "Let's see if you can beat us like this," and they couldn't.
Yep. And then I fumble by number 9, Trey Harris. So I was trying to see if it any other breakdowns. I don't know if I didn't think they put time of possession in here. I mean, both teams punted 5 times. But like you said, Kentucky just controlled the game, controlled the line of scrimmage. Kentucky's defense is pretty legit. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Ole Miss from
I think they're going to come
here
out
on
and
out.
they're going to play football. I think they're going to be a lot better. I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder because they know they shouldn't have lost this football game because it was at home against a lesser opponent and they blew it. So I think they're going to. I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah, it dropped them to number 12, and yeah, that's it. So uh, I'm gonna be a huge Miami fan this week. They go to Cal. I don't think Cal deserves anything. I don't think they deserve College Game Day coming because they're a crappy fan base, crappy team, and they shouldn't have lost. They shouldn't have beat Auburn. But here we are, and I'm just bitter,
5
and I
turnovers.
deserve it.
Yep,
I
turnovers is the
deserve to
name
be
of the game.
bitter. All right, sir. This is where I turn the program over to you. MLB regular season officially ended today. Braves snuck in by the skin of their teeth. They went into Sunday all only needing one win and 3 games to do it, and it took them to the last game to do it. But I will turn this over to you and let you have fun.
Yeah, Braves did what the Braves do that they've done all year, and that's not do what they need to do when they need to do it. They want to put the fans all the way out on the ledge and then talk them off right at the end. And that's exactly what they did. Sunday, they started Charlie Morton, so I knew we were going to lose, and they lost because it's Charlie Morton and our offense isn't any good. First game today.
Hold on. They're not consistently good.
Yeah.
They're not consistently good.
Spencer Schwellenbach looked absolutely insane today. He's thrown 21 innings against the Mets, and he struck him out like 25 times and only walked one guy. There's some balloons. But he looked really good, and then they turned it over to the pen that's been solid for most of the year, and it turned into, bullpen session is all it was. Joe just throwing beach balls up there, some sliders that backed up on him, and 8, 9, and 1 all ended up with hits. They bring in Iglesias, who's been shut down all year, gives up a bomb. You're down 6-3 with nothing going your way. And then the bases loaded come up with 2 outs for a second baseman who's been out for a month, who's only been back for a few games. And Ozzie Albies did what Ozzie Albies does, and he ripped one off the wall. Okay, everybody's happy. 7-6, Braves take it to the 9th. But your closer's gone because you threw him in the 8th. You bring in Pierce Johnson, gives up a home run to Francisco Lindor, and who, if Shohei Ohtani didn't exist, Lindor would be the MVP. So they blow that game, but then we got game 2. Hey, MVP or Cy Young Award winner Chris Sale's going to pitch. Scratched right at first pitch for back spasms. Again, push your fans back on that ledge. Fortunately enough, offense got it done. Bullpen got it done. Braves win 3-0. Pretty sure the Mets threw that game on purpose so they didn't have to go out west to play San Diego tomorrow. So the Braves will, I think, Padres.
They didn't play any of their stars. Lindor was on the bench the whole time.
Well, Alonso played.
Since when is he a star? The only thing he's done in his career is hit home runs in the home run derby. He hadn't done anything else.
You'll see him as a star when he gets his payment this offseason in free agency. But Braves play the Padres. The Padres will beat them. Sale's probably not going to pitch. Pitching's kind of depleted because of the doubleheader yesterday. So I think the Padres will win. The Padres are going to give the Dodgers a shot in the NLDS. If the Padres beat the Braves, the Padres are going to give the Dodgers a run for their money. On the other side of that, the Mets and the Brewers, they just played a 3-game set in Milwaukee last week, and this past weekend, Milwaukee took 2-3. I think that Milwaukee's going to win that series and play the Phillies, and it'll go back and forth. But I think they're going to see the Dodgers and the Phillies in the postseason in the NLCS. with the Phillies, I had them in the World Series back when we talked in July, and I still have them in the World Series now because of pitching and the deep lineup that they have. Now, will the layoff affect them the way it's affected every other team the last 5 years? Probably. But I don't know that the Brewers will have enough in the pitching wise to beat them because you're going to get Wheeler, Nola, and Suarez, all three, right off the bat, and that's going to be a tough out. So out of the NL, the Phillies are going to win and make it to the World Series. If we want to go to the AL side, shout out Easton Truitt and the New York Yankees clinching the number one. Shout out DJ Estes and the Cleveland Guardians for clinching the number two. Both of those teams are going to make it to the ALCS. The only way they don't is the mighty Astros. The Astros had a terrible start to the season. They were basically out of it, even though there's 162 games in a season, and through 40 games, people were writing them off. Bregman's playing in his last season in Houston, unless they re-sign him. Tuve's still there. The pitching's starting to get healthy. Yordan Alvarez is still there. These guys know what they're doing. So, to be honest with you, the only team that stands in the way of the Yankees, for me, is the team I was just talking to you about for 10 minutes straight. The only threat to the Yankees and the Guardians is the Astros. The Orioles, as who I had in the postseason in the World Series back in July, they've went downhill and they don't have the pitching anyway. So I'm going to go Yankees, Phillies in the World Series. Teams to look out for, Milwaukee to beat Philly. The Padres aren't going to beat the Dodgers. They'll give them a run for it, but they won't. Look for Milwaukee to beat Philly, and then look for the Guardians to make a push. I like the Guards. Their bullpen's really good. J. Rams holding that offense down with Stephen Kwan. So look for the Guardians to make a run there as well. Shout out Tigers and Royals for making the wild card. Tomorrow's going to be a fun day, but neither one of them will do anything.
I don't know. The Tigers have a lot of momentum right now.
Tariq Skubal is a very good pitcher too.
Yeah.
So they could get one game with him pitching, but they're not going. They could, if they make it out of the wild card, so be it. I don't see it happening. I think it's the Tigers and the Royals tomorrow. So they've played each other enough being in the same division this year. They know what each other's got.
Tigers, Astros at 2:30.
Tigers, Astros. Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. And then
Tigers,
you got Royals. You got Royals and
Orioles.
That's the one. Watch out for that one. Because the Royals clinched the first night they played us because the Twins lost. And so they didn't have to throw their mighty arms. So you'll look at Seth Lugo getting a throw, and he's been really, really good.
Yeah, maybe with the back spasms, Chris Sale can come back for hopefully a game 2 or game 3. But I'm sure who they're gonna start tomorrow. Reynaldo.
Reynaldo threw Saturday night, and then he threw an inning today out of the bullpen.
That's stupid.
Well, they had to. They didn't have anyone. You can't throw Jesse Chavez or Luke Jackson or any of those guys. I mean, AJ Minter's hurt. Dylan Lee threw twice 2 days in a row. You can't throw him. He's been really good. And so they had to. Well, I say they had to. I felt like that was the best option because he's been a relief pitcher the last 4 years.
Yeah.
So you look at Fried pitched Friday night. So Saturday. No, Fried pitched. Yeah, Fried pitched Friday, didn't he? Yeah.
I don't think so.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So they could throw Fried on Wednesday on short rest. Tomorrow, you could look at Ian Anderson being called up, AJ Smith, Shaver, Hurston Waldrop, Bryce Elder, any of those guys, and then try to piece it together with your pen, even though they're depleted. It's going to be really tough to work a bullpen that's been throwing so much lately against a really good offense. And Jackson Merrill and Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis and like these guys can hit.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be tough. It'd be tough to pitch Fried tomorrow or even Tuesday.
He won't throw tomorrow
because
for sure.
He pitched into the ninth inning. I think he threw 97 pitches on Friday. So, yeah. I mean, even with full Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it's going to be hard to pitch him even Wednesday. Wednesday would be day 5. Normally,
that'll be his 5th day.
That'd be his 5th day. So, I mean, He's probably hopefully he won't be too tired. Uh, uh, so
And then the Yankees out of the AL, I really like them because I think you could throw. I think Clark Schmidt is a good kid you can throw behind Cole.
yeah,
I think Nestor's hurt. Nestor Cortez is hurt. If you can get something out of Carlos Rodon, if those guys will pitch, they'll be fine. And then your offense is good. Rizzo just fractured his finger, so they're gonna have to go the young kid Ben Rice at first.
hmm
That lineup sets up to play as well. I mean, it's not just Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. Gleyber Torres has been good out of the leadoff. Anthony Volpe holds it down at short. Jazz Chisholm's in there. Like they've got the pieces to win if they can put it together and do it. The only
well,
way that they don't is if they have to set up with the Astros and the Astros beat them, which happens a
here's
lot.
here's the thing though with uh, recent history has taught us anything. It's typically the hot wild card team that wins. Now coming out of the NL, I think that's San Diego. I think that's the closest
Absolutely,
thing you have to a hot wild card team right now.
they're
But
really hot right now.
in the AL, I think it's the Tigers. There's a lot of excitement and momentum behind the Tigers right now. It's their first time in 10 years making it to the playoffs. I mean, the last time they went, Miguel Cabrera and Prince Fielder were hitting beside each other.
Yeah,
So, um, I think it's the Tigers right now. So I mean, I get it. Cleveland and the Yankees are really good, but they have the curse that the Braves have had for the last since 2022 is when you're in first or second place, you're gonna have to sit for a week, and that typically slows you down. It slows down all your momentum and everything. And so I think I'd rather
that's yeah.
go ahead.
I think that's why Philly is really in trouble with Milwaukee
hmm
because Milwaukee's pesky. They don't have to hit 3 or 4 home runs a game to beat you. If they can get outs, their offense can score enough runs. It
hmm
just depends on how Nola and Wheeler and Suarez all pitch because they've got the pitching to do it. It just depends on this rest. Now, if they get by the Brewers, that's why I have them in the World Series. If they can get by Milwaukee, I don't think they'll lose to the Dodgers or the Padres.
Well,
But
if they get by
that Dodgers
Milwaukee,
team is scary because pitching wise, like half their pitching rotation's been out all year. So you're throwing a lot of guys that you're like, I mean, you got Bueller out there that'll throw. Your bullpen's still okay, but they've just dealt with so many injuries. It'll be interesting to see how they pan out after having their break as well.
which one which one of the number one seeds has the highest payroll, the Yankees or the Dodgers?
Well, probably with Shohei, it might be the Dodgers.
But see, he's not being paid right now.
Yeah, but also you got Freddie and Mookie on that team. If you look at the Yankees, if we're talking about lineups, I mean, you look at the Yankees. Surely they're not paying Glaber, Torres, and Anthony Volpe and all these guys a lot of money. Now Judge is getting paid, of course, and Stanton's getting his money, but Rizzo's probably not getting crazy amounts of money. So probably I would say that off the top of my head, if I was guessing, probably the Dodgers because they're also paying Clayton Kershaw and Walker Bueller.
That's true.
So and Teoscar Hernandez, he's getting paid a good bit of money as well, and Will Smith.
It was the reason I was thinking about that is like they have to have two of the highest, if not the two highest payrolls in the game.
Yeah,
And when you're paying, when your roster is getting paid that much, you should be at the top of the league. You should be the number one seed every year. And so the Yankees, I think it's good to see them at the top of it. I have no problems with the Yankees. I'm not one of those
no,
just Yankees haters because they're a good team, historically a good team.
I'm
I
an
like
Aaron
the
Judge
Yankees,
fan
man.
too. So
I like them. I like Stanton a little bit. There's one guy there I don't like. Well, I don't. It might be what's the pitcher? Nestor. What's his
Nestor
last?
Cortez,
Cortez. Yeah, I don't like him.
I'm fine with him. I like Jazz Chisholm a lot too. So they're one of my favorite teams. If the Braves wouldn't have made it, I wouldn't cheer for the Yankees, but I also wouldn't mind them winning. So we'll see how it pans out for them. They're in the driver's seat to be able to, but they're going to end up. I think they match up with the Astros in the DS if the Astros get by the Tigers. I
The
believe.
It's Houston, who the winner of the Houston Tigers matchup will play the Guardians.
Okay, I messed up. Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah,
because
the
they're the
Yankees.
3 and 6 seed.
Okay, the Yankees will have a shot since they bypassed the Astros in the first round. So or in the DS.
So
But
you
yeah,
have let's just go through it. You have Houston beating the Tigers to play Cleveland
yeah,
in the DS, and then you have Kansas City beating the Orioles.
give it to me.
Kansas City beating the
Yeah,
Orioles to
yeah,
play the
give it to
Yankees
me.
in the DS, and then you have the
Yeah,
Brewers beating the Mets to play the Phillies in the DS. And are we going with the Braves, or are we going what we
Padres.
Padres? You think the Padres will go out and be
Braves
the
don't have enough.
and play the Dodgers out in the DS now? So we'll go back to Cleveland versus Houston. Who wins
Houston's
that
gonna win
series?
that.
Houston won that series to go to the CS, and then I'm assuming you have the Yankees beating the Royals to go to
Yep.
the CS. And then you'll have the Phillies beating the Brewers to go to the CS, and then the Dodgers beating the Padres.
Yeah, which I don't like. That's not gonna happen. One of those two one seeds are gonna lose.
Yeah,
I just don't know which one it is.
I think the
Philly more
Dodgers.
likely because the Brewers are the better. Brewers are better than the Padres, but also the Dodgers know more. I mean, the Padres know more about the Dodgers and set up well with them. So I'm gonna go Dodgers and Phillies just because why not? And then I'm gonna pick the Phillies to beat the Dodgers, and it's gonna be Philly and New York in the World Series.
Who wins?
New York, just because I
Yankees.
can't pick the Phillies.
Yankees winning the World Series. Mark that down. Eli
In
Miller.
six,
Ooh, Eli predicts Yankees will win in 6. If I knew how to spell, dude, I'd be a rich man. Yankees
now we'll come
win.
back to this in 2 weeks when none of these teams are playing anymore.
In 6. Okay, so I probably look like a buffoon leaning over to this table right now. Okay, uh, so do you want to take a look at our college football playoff before we go?
We can just to tell me
Just to,
that I can tell you. List off my playoff, and I'll tell you which ones are not going to be in the playoff at the end of the year
all right.
that I got
So
completely wrong.
Eli, let's move some stuff around. Okay, Eli, number 1, Georgia.
They'll be there.
Number 2, FSU, Florida State
Okay,
University.
get them out of there.
Once we get to the midway point, we might make a midweek our mid-season projections. Predictions. Number 3, Ohio State.
They'll be there.
Number 4, Utah.
No.
Number 5, Texas.
Yeah.
Number 6, Oregon.
Yeah.
Number 7, Alabama.
Yep.
Number 8, Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Number 9, Miami.
Yeah.
Number 11, Mizzou.
What about number 10?
Number 10, Clemson. Sorry.
Yeah.
Number 11, Missouri.
No.
And number 12, Tulane. Who's the
So
group of
that
5
was
team?
Boise State
Go ahead.
or Memphis. Wait, yeah, it's Boise State or Memphis, but probably Boise State because they've got the Heisman winner in their backfield right now.
All right. So why you don't have Utah, and Utah hadn't lost.
Utah's not going to make it. Cam Rising's hurt. Their backup quarterback's not very good. Utah's going to lose to Colorado in a
Who's
few
the
weeks.
then who's the Big 12? You said that with a straight face. That's funny. They're
I don't know
not.
who's on the top of that league. Is Utah still on top of that league?
Yeah, they're the
It
highest
might. It
ranked.
might still be Utah. It might still. What are they ranked? Yeah, we'll keep Utah in there. They probably won't be though, because Colorado's going to beat them anyway.
Pull up the AP25. Run that off real quick. Stand by.
I need to
All
get
right,
there a second.
here we go. AP top 25. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Texas. Number 3, Ohio State. Number 4, Tennessee. Number 5, Georgia. Number 6, Oregon. Number 7, Penn State. Number 8, Miami. Miami dropped a spot even though they didn't lose. Number
Because they
9,
almost did.
Missouri. Number 10, Michigan. Number 11, USC. Number 12, Ole Miss. Number 13, LSU. Number 14, Notre Dame. I was wrong. Utah is not anywhere near the top 15.
No, I didn't think so.
Number 15, Clemson. Number 16, Iowa State out of the Big 12. I think they're the highest ranked Big 12 team.
Utah has lost, haven't they?
Yeah, they lost one. Who did they lose to?
I thought so. Yeah, get them out of here. I knew I wasn't stupid.
Number 16, Iowa State. Number 17, BYU. Number 18, Utah. Number 19, Oklahoma. Number 20, Kansas State. Number 21, Boise State. Number 22, Louisville. Louisville lost this past week to Notre Dame. They dropped 7 spots. They get SMU at home.
Watch out.
Number 23, Indiana. Indiana sneaking in. They have a chance to be 6-0 because they play Northwestern. Number 24, Illinois. Illinois lost this past week to drop to 4-1. And then number 25. Any guesses? Out of the Mountain West.
Mountain West. Ooh. Fresno State.
UNLV.
Yeah, I forgot about them.
And we didn't even talk about their quarterback and running back leaving.
Yeah, another time. I don't really care.
No, I think that conversation's been beat to death.
Facts.
That guy's an idiot, and the Auburn fans who want him to come over to Auburn University are stupid. And I don't want the guy who quits. All right. Colorado got 1 vote to be in the top 25.
They'll be in there next week.
Army
well, they don't play this week.
Army only got 2 votes. Army's going to win whatever conference they're in.
Wait a second. I'm pretty sure Army and Navy are both undefeated right now. The playoff is chosen on a Monday before that game is played. If both of those teams are undefeated, do they push the playoff back, or do they just say Army and Navy ain't in it? Who knows? We'll see.
Turns into a strength of schedule, but that's a good point.
But, I mean, if there's another group of 5 that's better than them, it won't matter.
Yeah. Arizona looks like they might, if they win this week, they'll be in the top 25 next week. They got 106 votes, but that's not important. All right. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back. We'll try to be back next week. We'll let you know if it's not. This one should be out. I'll probably put this out on Wednesday. We'll try to keep you up to date on social media when we're going to be posting. Things are getting hectic right now. Basketball season's about to start. We're all over that. We're in the middle of school and everything, so we're trying to stay on top of all the really important stuff. But thank you guys for watching. We'll be back soon. I'll quit promising when we're going to be back. We're just going to be back soon. I think we're going to switch days to Wednesdays this week. We're going to switch to Wednesdays. This is easier on me. So, thank you, boys and girls, for watching. Stay tuned. We got some exciting announcements coming up soon. Hopefully a couple of good guests getting lined up here soon. So stay tuned. Anything you want to say, Eli?
Yeah, we'll get you to some NFL stuff, too, at some point. But I'm not going to talk about something I don't know about right now, and I haven't been paying too much attention other than that the Minnesota Vikings are 4-0. And Sam Darnold looks like a quarterback that knows what he's doing. NFL conversations will come. Some teams that were supposed to be good that started off rough. The Cincinnati Bengals. Some teams that are good, but we'll see. But yeah, so stay tuned for some NFL stuff in the coming weeks.
Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.